Hi everyone. Just wanted to speak some encouraging words to you this week. I'm reminded of a man in the Bible named King Solomon. He was the son of David. He became the king when his father David was very near death, and he was a very young boy. He was like 15 or 16 years old when he became the king, and he prayed that God give him wisdom to rule the people. So at a very young age, he was super smart. He knew to pray for wisdom, and God gave him supernatural wisdom. So he received an impartation, and he'd been raised in the courts of the king of Israel. David was a great worshiper. He was famous for writing lots of psalms, and he was famous for being a worshiper of God. And he himself was chosen to be king when he was about 16, maybe 17 years old. He was chosen by the prophet Samuel, and he raised his son to be the one who would build the temple of God for the people of Israel, the place where God would dwell, and they would go and meet with God. David wanted to, and he had a heart of worship. He wanted to lift up the name of God and make God great, but God said, no, you're a man of blood, you're a bloody man, and I'm gonna let your son do it. So he showed Solomon how to be raised as a person who would worship God, and he did that. So after Solomon had become king, and he had been king for a while, it took some years to build the temple, but then he dedicated the temple. And I wanted to read to you the words, or what happened when he dedicated the temple. Reading from a Bible in 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 41, it says, "And now arise, O Lord God, and go to your resting place, and the ark of your might. Let your priests, O Lord God, be clothed with salvation, and let your saints rejoice in goodness. O Lord God, do not turn away the face of your anointed one. Remember your steadfast love for David, your servant." And the reason why Solomon prayed for David, your servant, is he was reminding God of what he promised his father, who he called David, your servant. And in chapter 7, right after, so it's the same situation. It's not separated by chapters, but chapter 7, verse 1, 2, and 3 says, "As soon as Solomon finished his prayer, fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple, and the priests could not enter the house of the Lord because the glory of the Lord filled the Lord's house. When all the people of Israel saw the fire come down and the glory of the Lord on the temple, they bowed down with their faces to the ground on the pavement and worshipped and gave thanks to the Lord God, saying, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever." I want to point out to you that Solomon was maybe in his 30s probably when that happened. It took took years to build the temple. So even though he became the king when he was like 15 or 16 years old, it took years to get that. But look at what happened. He learned how to be a worshiper of God as a teenager. And then as a teenager, when he became king, what he asked for from God wasn't riches. He said, "Oh God, show me how to rule." He sought in a dream, and God granted his wish, granted his prayer. So young people, I want to encourage you, while you're a teenager, while you're in high school, while you're in junior high, seek the Lord while he may be found, because teenagers, not just because they were in the Bible, but they were noteworthy in the Bible because of what they did as teenagers. God bless you. I love you.